Yeah.
This meeting is called to order in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. Notice of this meeting was provided to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Highland Park Planet on January 7th, 2026, and was posted on Borough Hall website at www.hbborough.com and on the bulletin board of Borough Hall, 221 South Fifth Avenue in Highland Park, New Jersey, and has remained continuously posted as required by law. Fire exits are to my right and left of council chambers. And I see the chief is standing up, so I'm going to say, pleasure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Mayor Foster.
Yes.
Councilmember George.
Here.
Councilmember Hale.
Here.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Here.
Council President Kim Cho-Han.
Here.
Councilmember Pistonik.
Here.
Councilmember Vargas. Borough Attorney Renaud.
Here.
Borough Administrator Rivera.
Here. We jump right into things and approval of minutes. May I have a motion to approve minutes for December 9th, 2025 work session, December 16th, 2025 regular and executive session, January 6th, 2026 reorg meeting, January 20th, 2026 regular and executive session, February 3rd, 2026 regular meeting as distributed.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George.
Abstain as to January 6th and January 20. I was otherwise occupied. Yes as to the rest.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho-Han.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik.
Yes.
And now we move on to council report. Councilmember George.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I'm Councilman Phil George, and I serve as liaison to the Borough Council's Public Safety Committee. Right now, we should remember the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who passed away, who led a life of dedication to equality, opportunity, and resisting wrongness in our society, even at personal and political expense throughout his life. Today also is the Lunar New Year, and 2026 is the year of the horse, and more particularly the fire horse, which symbolizes energy, freedom, forward momentum, and a powerful series, symbol of perseverance, freedom, and momentum in this lunar cycle. I think that the year of the horse is going to be a great luck for Highland Park as we push a lot of programs through, and we need the energy, the freedom, and the forward momentum. It also is Shrove Tuesday, also known as Fat Tuesday, traditionally 24 hours or more of partying before the season of remembrance and other directed service for many in our community. Today, a note for Black History Month from the library. Someone else, I'm sure, will talk about the program at Zone 6. But on Tuesday, February 24th, from noon to 1 o'clock at the library, the New Jersey State Genealogy Librarian, Regina Fitzpatrick, will be on for a discussion on slavery and slavery laws in New Jersey in the 19th century, and she will provide historical context and background information for those who would like to work on genealogical research. She'll talk about New Jersey being the last northern state to enact any type of emancipation laws. Excuse me, one of the last states to ratify the 13th Amendment. Also with regard to the library, on February 24th at 6:30 p.m. is the free kickoff of our first our year-long program, Between Two Worlds. The internationally acclaimed Strauss-Warschauer duo who have played in Highland Park before will perform a special program of Yiddish music inspired by the novel A Jewish Refugee in New York by Kadra Molodowski, which is the book reading for this program. We'll also kick off the Between Two Worlds program series with a few words from community partners and a short reading from the novel. Also, coming up on Thursday, the 26th, at 6 o'clock to 7:30, we have another well-known author visiting Rowena Miller will be visiting the Highland Park Library to talk about her novel on the youth in the youth adult series Secrets of the Blue Hand Girls, which is a story about a series of novels about young women recruited to join a secret society in their Manhattan prep school. This has received a first come, first served award of the Youth Services Book Review and by this book review of the Southern Bookseller Review. With regard to the fire department, we had 45 calls for service of all kinds in January 2026. And presently our firefighters, both full-time and volunteer, are all doing the mandatory training and certification courses that the state requires to start off the year. So they're all working. Chief Shabby told me, however, today that they're doing really well and pulling in some great results with some awards in the different programs. So I think that is my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Jason Poston.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Stolnick. I'm the chair of the Health and Human Services Committee. I have a very brief report for tonight. I just wanted to announce an upcoming event co-sponsored by the Human Relations Commission on Sunday, March 22nd this year, from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Community Center. There will be the Highland Park DEI Cookie Exchange. So come show support for diversity, equity, and inclusion in a sweet way by bringing and exchanging cookies from all different cultures, which sounds to me like a terrific idea, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Who doesn't love cookies? And I think nowadays, I think we could all use a little something nice to bring people together instead of a lot of division and anger and unpleasantness. We can put it that way. That's out there right now, unfortunately, coming from the top. So yes, please come Sunday, March 22nd, 1 to 3 p.m. at the Community Center for this cookie exchange. And then staying on the topic of the Human Relations Commission, they have a meeting tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Here at Borough Hall in the lower level conference room, and also accessible on Google Meet. If you're interested in programming like that and seeing more of that in town, I encourage folks to show up either in person or over Google Meet. And we have a few openings on the commission. So if you're interested, submit a volunteer application available on the Borough website, hpboro.com, and come join us and we can bring some more fun programming like this to town. And Mayor, that was all that I had for tonight.
Thank you. Councilmember Vargas.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. First, I got a couple of comments that apparently I'm not heard or something like that on Zoom. We're having a little bit of a hard time. I'm not sure. I watched a couple of videos. I thought I could hear myself just fine, but I did hear a lot of fidgeting. And I think our audio kind of like picks up background noise and amplifies that. So I'm not sure, but I'm going to try my best to be as loud as possible. Actually, no, not too loud, but just enough. Okay. Today we join so many across the nation in mourning the loss of the Reverend Jesse Jackson, a civil rights icon who not only opened doors, but held them open for people of color and marginalized communities. His life was a testament to persistence, courage, and faith in the promise of justice. We know this work is not easy. It is difficult to remain hopeful and continue moving forward in the face of adversity. But Reverend Jackson reminded us that when we uplift others and make space for different communities, we all benefit. May we honor his legacy by continuing that work here at home. Now on to some announcements. In honor of Black History Month, Sable Futures, which is in partnership with Borough's Zone 6 Teen Center, will present the Kentucky Derby Museum exhibit called Black Heritage in Racing this coming Saturday, February 21st. This exhibit will highlight the significant and often overlooked contributions of African Americans in the early history of Kentucky Derby. Guests are encouraged to wear big hats and festive Derby style attire. It should be fun. For more information, please contact Zone 6 Director Ashton Burrell at aburrell@hpborough.com. Also, please register for Highland Park's coming up 5K on May 3rd. It will be held the same day as usual as our spring fair. Whether you run or walk, we would love to see you there. Registration information can be found on the Borough's website or at runsignup.com/HP5K or by calling 732-819-0052. The Highland Park Department of Aging invites residents to a Lunar New Year luncheon and Happy Lunar Year. By the way, it will be on Monday, February 23rd at 11:30 a.m. at the Highland Park Community Center. The event will feature an exciting dragon and lion dance performance by the Metuchen Dragon and Lion Dance Troupe, and it will be accompanied by traditional drums, cymbals, and a delicious lunch catered by Sultan Wok. A kosher option is available on request. To register for more information, please call 732-819-0052. If you haven't been to any of them in the past, I do encourage the community to come down. It's a lot of fun and it's just beautiful. Lastly, I want to address an event from last Friday. I was honored to be invited to speak at a walkout organized by students at the Highland Park High School. The students thoughtfully and meticulously organized this action to show support for friends, family members, and neighbors who are or may be affected by the extreme actions of ICE. I was told in advance that the walkout would take place during their break period for approximately 20 minutes, after which students would return to class and continue their day. I was incredibly proud of the many students who demonstrated civic engagement in a peaceful and intentional way. It is unfortunate that after some students, though well-intentioned, deviated from the original plan and took action onto Raritan Avenue, they received a very harsh consequence. I understand there has been controversy regarding the consequences that followed, which included automatic suspensions. Moments like this are very complex. They challenge us to balance safety, accountability, and the encouragement of civic participation. My hope is that we continue to foster open dialogue so that our young people feel heard, guided, and supported as they learn how to exercise their voices responsibly and safely. And perhaps a review of the punishments should be on a case-by-case basis, because just like when ICE comes into our communities and detains adults and children alike, non-citizens and citizens alike, not every one of those students will be affected in the same way. Some will be harmed for a very long time, while others will have the privilege to get through it unscathed. I also want to make it very clear that I support the students that have walked away just as much as I support the students who stayed behind, because all of their hearts were in the right place. And they are on the right side of history. There has been a lot of comments online, very, very negative comments online about the students and the school administration. I find them to be extremely disgusting. These students are amazing, they're fantastic, and they have their heart in the right place. None of them did it because they wanted to be bad or wanted to get in trouble. They did it because they want to show support for their community, their friends and family, and even for themselves. There were also comments that we should all be aware that there are people in our community that are literally inviting ICE to come to our community. They are sharing pictures of Borough events. Some of us are in those pictures, and they're sharing them in groups and asking ICE to come down here now. So we all have to be very aware, we all have to be supportive. At this time, I just wanna, this is a more polished version of my speech to the students. I had written my speech a few minutes before getting to the school, and I took the time to edit it, but this was basically what I said to the students. I thank them for leading with empathy, compassion, strength, courage, and hope. Every protest is rooted in hope. Even in our darkest moments, it is hope for something better, for deeper understanding, for greater compassion that we hold on to. but we cannot carry that hope alone. Today, you are not alone. We are not alone. We stand together in good company on the right side of history. The United States is approaching 250 years since declaring independence from tyranny. 250 years since our founders took extraordinary risks to stand up for liberty. They met in back alleys in secrecy, often afraid, many of them barely older than the students that were standing there, some even younger than them, but they exercised their constitutional rights. The Constitution was not born perfect. It was shaped by the blood, sweat, and sacrifice of immigrants, indigenous people, enslaved people, and women, many of whom it did not yet recognize or represent. But as our nation grew, it grew more aware, more educated, more conscious, and we expanded that to include more people. We amended it. We made it more inclusive and more powerful. It is meant to bind us together and to protect all of us equally as one people. It belongs to all of us, not just to the privileged few. To those who call the students ignorant, that they were indoctrinated, that they're uneducated, that they're brainwashed, they're wrong. Those students are fully awake. They are aware of everything that goes on around them. Because they refuse to sleep while their rights are being stripped away, little by little. They refuse to sleep when their friends and their families are violently detained. And there is no denying that there is violence involved in those detentions. They refuse to sleep when anyone's rights to vote is being threatened. And we all know what's coming very soon is that our rights are being infringed upon. They refuse to sleep when women are told they cannot control their own bodies. And they refuse to sleep when people are told who they cannot love freely. We're not going to sleep. We're going to be awake, and we're going to protest, and we're going to speak up for others and stand up for others. We're going to remain engaged, and we're going to stay on the right side of history, and we will defend our Constitution, and we will protect the vulnerable, and we will always choose love and empathy over hate. That was the gist of what I told the students, and again, I'm very proud of all of them, and thank you for your time.
Councilmember Hale.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to say thank you to Councilwoman Vargas for her words and her thoughts and her discussion of the students. The only thing I would add on that particular point is just to remember John Lewis's great quote about getting into good trouble. And I think part of the brilliance of that is we still recognize the trouble part of it. Standing up for what you believe in, standing up for your convictions sometimes brings trouble. I know there's a conversation going on right now about the punishments. I know the conversations are going on back and forth. We'll see where those leads. But standing up for what you believe in is not pain-free. Standing up for what you believe in can cause hurt to yourself, and you do it anyway. And so I just wanted to say, when you see students protesting, when you see students going out and standing up for those beliefs, regardless of what those beliefs are, that gives you hope that students have the ability to exercise their free rights and the responsibility to understand that sometimes consequences happen for those. So thank you for your words, Councilwoman Vargas. I do want to move on to other things. As my name is Matt Hale, I'm the chair of the Economic Development Committee, and there are a couple things on the agenda tonight that I think are worth noting. We're approving a road closure of Route 27, but this time it's a good thing. As Councilwoman Vargas said, it's for the 5K. So no more, not a road closure for a bad thing, but a road closure for a good thing. The upcoming 5K and the Highland Park Street Fair, which is going to, as Councilwoman Vargas said, take place on May 3rd. And then the Arts Festival is taking place on September 20th. So that's on the agenda. Nice to think about those sort of warm summer days as opposed to our cold ones right now. We also have a second reading and public hearing on amendments to the downtown redevelopment plan.
As I mentioned last time, when this was introduced, these are our housekeeping updates on the plan, specifically for track A. We have been presenting to the public over the last several years, so this is good news. This is moving forward and making some significant progress. We also are doing some additional housekeeping amendments on our relationship with Arterial. We're planning our 3rd Avenue Plaza. And again, this is the result of public conversation and feedback that we've made significant improvements to the parking court and the streetscape, and those require some additional design and engineering work not included in the original proposal. But again, it's nothing we haven't discussed in the past, and it's again great to see that we are moving ahead with those 3rd Avenue plans. And I think that is all I have. Thank you.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Hey, I'm Matt Hale, and Chair of Economic Development. Sorry, sorry, that was not a Matt Hale impression. That was not what you sound like. I just needed to change the tenor of my voice. Thanks, Matt. My name is Matt Hirsch. I chair the Public Works and Public Utilities Committee, and I hope everyone is having a nice reprieve to the cold weather. I want to actually try something new. I want to start off with a land acknowledgement. I cover a lot of municipal. I attend a lot of municipal meetings for my job, and sometimes I take good ideas and inspiration from all over the place. So we gather today on the land of the Lenape. As members of the Highland Park community, we aspire to show appreciation, respect, and concern for all peoples and our environment. We honor the Lenape and other indigenous caretakers of these lands and waters, the elders who have lived here before, the indigenous today, and the generations to come. One of the reasons why I wanted to say that is because when I got sworn into the council, it was under the pavilion downtown. And there, I also acknowledge the land that we stood on. And I think as Councilwoman Vargas introduced, as we take stock of what it means to be an American in the United States, what it means, what our Constitution means, that we really have to remember the foundations of our country, where we come from, what we represent, how we got here, and how our neighbors got here. And I think that that's a great lens through which to look as we start talking about the Shade Tree Advisory Committee, because we plant trees to cultivate and to benefit this land that we are environmental stewards over. I want to recognize Marsha Schiffman, who's here as a member of the Shade Tree Advisory Committee. The borough has a long-stated policy of street tree plantings and replacements on borough rights of way between the sidewalk and the road, or as the verge, as Councilman Phil George calls it. So while the Shade Tree Advisory Committee meticulously maps out and identifies locations, residents are also allowed to request a street tree. To request street trees to be planted in the borough right of way in front of your home or your business, please complete, you can download and complete the form on the borough's website, www.hpboro.com, or easier, you can complete the request form online also in the same portal at www.hpboro.com. Trees are planted at no cost to you as funds become available, and street trees can only be planted on borough property. After receiving your request, a member of the Shade Tree Advisory Committee will evaluate the location for suitability for planting. And while we aim to plant primarily native trees, we welcome input from homeowners on the choice of species. The final selection will depend on availability as well as the necessity of sizing the tree to the location. So sometimes you might see smaller trees mid-block, I'm just giving an example, and larger trees at the corners to provide more of that canopy look. There's a beautiful tulip birch that was planted about 3 years ago, right around the corner from me. This thing's already 30 feet tall, and it's just amazing. Let's see. The property owner must be willing to water the new trees, and instructions will be provided. Thank you in advance for beautifying our town and caring for the environment. Tree requests will be primarily fulfilled in the fall. The spring planting season is reserved for our zoned plantings, which are established to save money and resources. And the exception is when your tree request fits into the current zone of focus. Again, if you want to look at our tree policy and look at the tree request forms, you can go to www.hpboro.com, scroll over the department's drop-down menu at the top, and find where it says Public Works, and then below there, click on trees. You'll find it. It'll take you no more than 15 seconds. Related, there's a webinar, which is also really exciting. Again, thanks for staff it's a real Cracker Jack group. They work really hard, and they're hosting a webinar, Ask Stack, to hear about the spring tree plantings and ask your questions about our street trees. This is going to be on April 6th, 2026 at 7 p.m. on Teams, I guess it will be, but that URL will be on the Borough's website, again, www.hpboro.com. Residents who will be getting trees planted near their homes this spring should show up and ask questions. We did a webinar last year and it was incredibly successful. And this gives residents a chance to learn more about the tree planting process and tree care, which is a really important component of our tree planting strategy. Is that, you know, when these trees are young, they're very vulnerable. They're vulnerable to external elements. They're vulnerable to cars and deer and the whole nine. So it's really important that as residents we take our own part and be stewards of these trees. And then related to that, actually I got the whole list here. I did want to just point out resolution number 12I on the agenda. That's resolution 22669. And this will award our bid for 2026 spring tree planting projects to Downs Tree Servicing. So that's part of this tree management strategy that we continue that we have long embarked on. One interesting note that I want to just mention about SAC that people might not know is that along with the Environmental Commission, SAC and the Environmental Commission are asked to provide comment to building developers when they present plans to the borough. And obviously tree plantings and avoiding invasive plants are incredibly important for the borough as a matter of policy, but also as a matter of environmental stewardship. So I did want to just raise that up, is that when we hear about these development plans, they are vetted by various boards and commissions, and this seems to have been a successful tactic because we will get plants coming in that identify non-invasives as the preferred planting, and that's really where we want to be as a borough. And look no further than the state. Governor Murphy, one of the last bills that he signed into law was the Invasive Species Management Act, which prohibits the sale and propagation of non-native species. This is an incredibly important law because a lot of the trees that we have found that have been beautiful over the years, like Bradford pear trees, are actually not safe for the environment. Thanks to STAC for all you do, and looking forward to just having continue growing our tree canopy and making sure that Highland Park is as green as humanly possible. As liaison, as Public Works Chair, I also am liaison to Sustainable Highland Park, who will be hosting a repair cafe this Sunday at the Highland Park Community Center, right downstairs at 220 South 6th Avenue. Repair cafes are community organized events where volunteers come together to make small repairs to household items. We'll have coffee, tea, snacks, and skilled people to help you repair your things. Many thanks to Sustainable Highland Park and John Caputo, who really spearheaded this initiative. It's really exciting. It's generated an enormous amount of community interest. So yeah, if you have something that needs fixing, bring it on by, and you're gonna have skilled people to address it. That is, I don't know if I mentioned the date, Sunday, February 22nd, from 1 to 4 p.m. again at the community center right here. I did just want to take some time to spotlight the sustainability spotlight. If you don't follow Sustainable Highland Park online or subscribe to their newsletter, you really should, because not only does it discuss environmental stewardship and initiatives for community engagement and how we can all be out there and do our part to for environmental sustainability, economic sustainability, and more. We also really showcase successful efforts to reuse, so we're not always in that consumer mode. So this month's sustainability spotlight features Clean and Action Closet, Oucha, a local thrift market group based here in Highland Park and focused on eco-friendly shopping. They were founded in 2023 And cleaning out your closet was inspired by the idea that everyone has great pieces sitting unworn in their closets, and that community-based thrifting can be just as exciting, accessible, and meaningful as traditional retail. By encouraging secondhand shopping, cleaning out your closet helps reduce waste and keeps usable clothing out of landfills. In Highland Park, cleaning out your closet hosts thrift markets, $1 rummage piles where shoppers can dig through the last chance finds, and affordable pieces priced to keep sustainable fashion accessible for everyone. The next thrift market will take place on Saturday, March 7th at the Greenhouse Loft. That's above where White Lotus Home used to be, local bike shop, Bremerton Market, you name it. So that'll be at the Greenhouse Loft. So please join and shop fashionably and sustainably. And thanks for, again, to Sustainable Highland Park, the team over there for, really spotlighting these good actors in our community who really live the mission of environmental sustainability. Sustainable Highland Park will meet next Wednesday, February 25th at 7:30 here in the Heshy Berman Conference Room. You can also participate on Teams, and you can find the link at www.hbboro.com. You might have noticed that this week there was a holiday. It was President's Day. As a result, that affects our garbage and recycling schedule. So I just wanted to remind everybody that the recycling and garbage schedule for this week, the week of February 16th, now that it is Tuesday. So today was a collection of the Business District North Side and the Triangle. Tomorrow, we will have Business District North Side and Triangle garbage collection. On Thursday, it's South Side recycling collection. And on Friday, we'll have garbage collection in the Business District and the South Side. Please view details at www.hbboro.com. And if for whatever reason you are not receiving notifications from the borough, please sign up for the borough's Nixle alerts, and you'll never miss a beat. I did want to just mention something about the suspensions at the schools related to the protests. As many of you know, last Friday, 54 Highland Park High School students were suspended for leaving school grounds to march on the avenue for an ICE protest, marching peacefully to the avenue and then returning to school. After a flurry of parent and student correspondence and activity, Highland Park Public Schools postponed those suspensions for now. As a parent of one of the suspended students, I made sure that he knew that I supported his decision to engage in civil disobedience, to object to what is happening in communities all over the country as federal agents round up immigrants. It is very difficult it's very difficult for us gray hairs to remember that, students, particularly, juniors and seniors in high school, hardly remember January 6, 2001, or weren't politically sentient in the first Trump term. It's important that what they're seeing on TV now is shocking and new to many, or at least the manifestation of everything that they've heard in the zeitgeist, that this is actually happening on television in front of them. So it is, by comparison, tepid to participate in a school walkout. My first walkout was in 8th grade, protesting the first Iraq War in 1991. And probably got in trouble for that. But then since then, though, it is important. I think, the right to protest is a fundamentally American tradition. And like anything, consequences are also important to understand with any endeavor that we do. And with protest, look how many people, including, and it's Black History Month now, look how many people got arrested for civil rights, for doing the right thing. So this happens, and this is not something that we are objecting to. But I think as institutions, we need to make sure that the institutions are taking the shape of the philosophies of the community. And as a community member who supports our schools, I truly hope that the district and the community can take this opportunity to look at the importance of protest during civil rights and social justice movements. It's Black History Month after all. So what are we teaching our kids if we're suspended for protesting the violence that's happening in this country? Most of us have never seen fascism before, myself included. And it's also important to understand that I do want to thank the mayor and Councilwoman Vargas for speaking, the police department for being present at the event. Again, these are the consequences stemmed from the norms that we're questioning. And that's a fact of life. And we need to show that due process is important, because at the federal level, there's not much of an example of those traditions right now. So it's really important that we uphold due process and the right to free speech and the right to First Amendment speech here at home. And so we really need to remind ourselves that these are that these are values that we have to uphold, because they are in doubt, as we can see. And again, that is, that I'm gonna move forward with this next part, but I did want to just echo Matt Hale's assertion that, John Lewis's reference to good trouble this month and every month, we need to remember what that really means. So thank you for that. Related to that, in 2017, following several weeks of public community discussion, we passed the Borough's Inclusive Communities Resolution, which first and foremost committed to upholding the Attorney General's Immigrant Trust Directive that local police will not engage in immigration enforcement. We honor that, and I'm damn proud that we were at the gate in this administration's first term. But now we have a chance to do more, Council. As ICE purchases warehouse and detention facilities and uses public land for staging operations, in line with Governor Sherrill's Executive Order number 12 to protect against ICE raids on state property, and provides a resident reporting portal and information for New Jerseyans to know their rights, local towns can actually take similar measures. In New Brunswick, Mayor Cahill just recently announced that city departments and agencies shall not permit or consent to federal immigration officers entering, accessing, or using non-public areas of city property for enforcement of civil immigration law, except as authorized by a judicial warrant or order. More city departments and agencies shall not permit or consent to federal immigration officers using city property as staging areas, processing locations, or operating bases for enforcement of civil immigration law, unless authorized as a judicial warrant or order. And so I just wanted to kind of put that out in the air, and hopefully that's as we see more on the state level of how we are reacting to this to the administration, we can think about ways to strengthen our resolve here at the local level. In reasonable and effective ways. And last, I did just want to recognize Kathy Lombardi, a friend and a longtime volunteer for the Highland Park Food Pantry, who recently passed away after a battle with illness. Kathy was somebody who I got to know through my work here at the Borough. And had an amazing heart, really understood the world, and provided really great counsel, when you really needed somebody to talk to. So Kathy was a big music fan, and so Kathy, I hope you were rocking on wherever you are, and much love. Love you, Kathy, and I don't know Kathy's family, but to Kathy's family and friends, please know that we are thinking about her, and she is just greatly missed here in Highland Park. That is my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Council President Kim Cho-Han.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Kim Cho-Han, and I am the Chair of Finance. Before I begin, I want to wish everyone celebrating a happy Lunar New Year. Today marks the start of the year of the fire horse, a time many families observe with renewal, gratitude, and gathering. From a finance perspective, we have on second reading ordinance, the annual cap bank ordinance, which provides flexibility under the state budget cap framework. The Rent Control Board will be meeting February 26th, 5:30, right here in council chambers. An item from the state level finance is the property tax relief, state and J. Benefit payments for eligible seniors have begun arriving. Visit www.uss.gov nj.gov/treasury/taxation and /state-nj for more information. And then back again with another February financial tip. So if you're expecting a tax refund, consider splitting it, save or pay down a high interest debt with at least half, and use the remaining for planned expenses. A one-time payment can meaningfully reduce monthly stress for the rest of the year. And I also, rest in peace to the great Jesse Jackson. And that's my report.
Borough Administrator,
No report this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Borough Attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll keep it very brief for those folks in the audience. Coming up on the agenda are going to be several opportunities for the public to give their opinions. The first section is at section 10. That is 3 minutes on any item on the agenda. That's going to be resolutions, ordinances on first reading, which we do not have tonight. At number 14, you'll see a second public participation. That is an additional 3 minutes to speak on any topic that the public wishes to bring forward to the council. The third opportunity tonight will occur during paragraph 11, which is ordinances on second reading, where the public will be able to comment on each of the ordinances on second reading before the council takes their vote. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Now it's time for my report. But before I do so, may I ask for a moment of silence in the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson. I believe it's the last of the freedom fighters. It's a very sad occasion that he left this earth in Black History Month and left this earth pretty much the same thing that he was fighting for back in the 50s and 60s. May I have a moment? I wrote a little something because this came from my heart, and my heart was very heavy when I heard of this passing. And I wrote, today, with heavy hearts, we mourn the passing of Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr., a towering leader in the fight for civil rights, justice, and human dignity. In times of deep division and great challenges, Reverend Jackson stood tall. Speak truth to power, demanding equality for all. He carried forward the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., reminding us that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And this is worth repeating, especially in the time that we're living in. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Reverend Jackson helped bend that arc, not only for African Americans, but for the entire humanity. As mayor and on behalf of our community, I want to extend the deepest condolences to Reverend Jackson's family. May we honor his life by continuing to work and to devote ourselves for justice, equity, and most of all, hope for all. Thank you. As we celebrate Chinese New Year, I wish everyone a happy, it's been said over and over on the days, but I also want to wish everyone a happy Chinese New Year. And it's also been said many times about the students that were protesting. I went to the protest on Friday because I was asked to speak. I did so, and it was an orderly protest. The students stayed until all the speeches were over. Most of the students went back inside. Others decided to do something else, as you all have heard. Freedom of speech is important, and I just read my heartfelt appreciation to Reverend Jackson, and he was protesting many of these things back in the 60s. A lot of unnamed African American and others died for what he fought, him and others fought so long and hard for. And it's especially troubling to me that here we are, not even 60 years later, back to the same place where we started. And if we don't lend our voice to injustice when we see injustice, it's not going to be good for any of us, because if something affects me, it affects you eventually. So let's be vigilant. Let's remember what we fought, what was fought for in the 60s, and vow never to go back, but to move forward. We need to move forward our country in unity, not divisiveness. Thank you. That's my report. And now it's time for public participation. 3 minutes total to speakers, limited to items and comments on this agenda. Those attending in person will be heard first, followed by those on Zoom. Anyone on Zoom, Terry?
We have 2 attendees, but no hands are raised.
Okay, please come to the microphone and announce yourself.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Marcia Schiffman. I live on North 6th Avenue. I've lived in Highland Park for many years, since 1980. I am part of STAC, and thank you, Matt, for talking about STAC's program. We are looking for new members, in case anybody's out there that's interested in trees and planting in Highland Park. Please contact us. But that's not why I'm here today. I wanted to speak about the redevelopment plan, and I hope it's not too late. It is second reading, but I will tell you my ideas anyway. I'm a member of Main Street Highland Park. I'm the vice chair. I'm a member of the design committee of Highland Park, and I'm co-chair of that. And I'm a licensed professional planner. So I've sort of gotten into the weeds about the redevelopment plan. A lot of good things in it, but I have a few, in fact, only 4 items that I'd just like to bring before you to think about. Main Street Highland Park, obviously, what we're interested in is preserving the downtown, making it a vibrant CBD. And we're hopeful that the redevelopment will do that. But I think there are a few things that can be firmed up on some of the items on the zoning for Tract A and Tract C. So I'll mention that. I tend to get into the weeds on these kind of zoning things, so you'll have to forgive me. Page 71, section 6.2.2.1A on residential uses. And those include both residential units and customary and incidental accessory units. And they may all be located on the ground floor. Now, the redevelopment plan requirements for Tract A allows up to 20% residential units on the ground floor, which is very good. And I was happy to see that. My concern is limitations for the accessory and incidental uses on the ground floor. And the reason is, we really want to have a vibrant downtown and allow for uses that the people walking by, not just the residents in the building, will use. And the incidental units, like a lobby or a fitness center, it's great, but it's really not going to draw people into the stores if there were stores. So the concern I have is the extent of these units.
I'm gonna do
Do you mind if I finish?
Yes, go ahead, I'll extend it.
I have four items. I don't see anybody else talk.
Marcia, please continue.
Okay, thank you. We restrict offices, that we allow them on the ground floor, but they would have to be behind the frontage of the building. And the new zoning standards for the downtown, which we've looked at with the planner last week, talks about a setback distance if you have offices in the front. And I would suggest that similar thing be done for incidental and accessory uses, residential uses on the first floor, there is no limitation now. I would also, my number 2 comment, under section 6.2.2.1A16, deals with office space, and we're now allowing it on the ground floor, but it's restricted and it doesn't have access from the frontage. I think the language needs to be tightened up. And when we're looking at zoning for the overall CBD, we've talked to Chris Cosenza about establishing distance from the frontage of the building to for the offices, and 10 to 15 feet. So at least you'll have some commercial space in the front. It's not clear how that will be evaluated. Hopefully I haven't lost you. So anyway, those are 2 things that I think will help with the downtown, with the zoning on Tract A. Also, very similarly, it should be looked at for Tract C, which is the farmers market lot development for the office use and for the accessory uses on the frontage. I will note that Tract C allows 40% residential uses in the front yard, and Tract A only 20, and I think Tract A will provide more opportunities for residential development. Okay, that was my 3rd one. The 4th one is landscaping, sort of dealing with, I'm a landscape architect by training. And there are requirements for landscaping in the redevelopment plan. Very important to coordinate with the Shade Tree Advisory Committee and have that be part of the process. There are recommendations in terms of trenches for the trees and other recommendations, but I think we can go farther than that. And I in fact just learned about this. There's something called the Stockholm Project, which is being used in Europe, that it's a process of planting trees in special pits with, they call it biochar, but it's surrounding the area and underneath, and the trees are live longer, grow faster, and they're having very good results. So I think it's something we need to look at, and I would cite that as an option. And it would also be coordinated with stormwater management, which you're going to be doing underground. So those were my comments. I don't know if
Could you do me a favor, and if you could provide whatever you've written up to Terry? You said a lot, and there's a lot of pieces that we would like to take a look at. So if you could provide that information to Terry, then she's economic development, we can take a look at that.
I would be happy to. I'll have to.
You said a lot. We're not gonna remember all the pieces, but if you put it together and provide it to Terry, we will be more than happy to take a look at it.
Thank you. Is there any questions by anybody?
No. Not at this
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you. Anyone on Zoom?
Still 2 attendees, no hands.
Okay. Seeing none, may I have a motion to close public participation?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George,
Yes.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Okay, ordinance requiring a second reading. Clerk, please report on ordinance number 26-2124.
An ordinance of the Borough of Highland Park, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, amending the downtown redevelopment plan for tracks A through D, has been duly advertised for consideration of passage on final reading by title, and affidavits of publication are on file. This ordinance has also been posted and made available for public inspection.
Now it's time for public hearing on this ordinance. If you would like to speak, please come up to the microphone, or if you're on Zoom, please raise your hand. Okay.
Mayor, may I have permission to say a couple remarks in light of what Marcia mentioned before we get to the vote?
Okay, sure. Yeah, because we're on the topic. Go ahead.
The question was asked, there was a lot of detail in Marcia's comments. My recommendation would be to proceed with the amendment because there's a lot that would hold up. However, we're in a negotiation with our redevelopers on both properties. And I don't believe there's anything in what we are established as a zoning that would preclude any of the ideas mentioned if they make sense, if we can work that out, if we all agree. So I just wanted to make sure you didn't think we couldn't actually take a look at those things, but we would not be able to insert amendments along those lines at this time and move forward with the vote. But we can certainly take a look at those things, and as we negotiate these specific projects, we can see what of those ideas are workable. And certainly the ones around landscaping, we're all ears about, for sure. But a lot of the buildings programming have been negotiated to a certain amount already and presented to the public. So we'll have to talk about whether or not we make significant changes, but it limits some of that residential, but doesn't preclude putting in retail. So I think we can play around with that. So I just didn't want you to think we weren't listening, but I think it's advisable to move forward at this time on the ordinance.
Okay. Any further public comment?
I see no hands up, Mayor.
Okay. Seeing none, may I have a motion to close public participation?
So second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George.
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes, and as liaison to staff, we're going to insist that, staff is definitely at the table and your feedback is heard. And then, just yes to redevelopment in general. This is the umpteenth time that we voted for it, so yes, yes, yes again. You can mark those for the future votes.
Council President Kim Cho-han.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik.
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Ordinance requires second reading. Go ahead. Sorry. Okay, may I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 26-2124?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George.
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho-han.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik.
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Clerk, please report on ordinance number 26-2125.
Calendar year ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. NJSA 48:4-45.14 has been duly advertised for consideration of passage on final reading by title, and affidavits of publication are on file. The ordinance has also been posted and made available for public inspection.
And now it's time for public hearing on this ordinance. If you would like to speak, please come up to the microphone. Those who are on Zoom, please do so by raising up the hands.
No hands raised.
Seeing none, may I have a motion to close public participation on ordinance number 26-2125?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George.
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch. Council President Kim Cho-han.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik.
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 26-2125?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George.
Yes.
Councilmember Hale.
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch.
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho-han.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik.
Yes.
And Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
Now I move on to the consent agenda. Is there anything that any council member would like to pull for a separate reading on the consent agenda?
No, Mayor.
No, Mayor.
May I have a motion to adopt the following consent agenda items 12A to 12J?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George,
Yes.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
And now we move on to appointments. Arts Commission, I'm Stephen Sutton. Historical Commission, Frida Deepa. Rent Control, Tricia Slater Evans. Alternative Landlord. May I have a motion to confirm?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George,
Yes.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han.
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes, and I'm so excited that Anne is joining the commission as well as Cedric, because we've already been actively involved, so it's very exciting. Yes.
Now it's time for second public participation, 3 minutes to speak on any topic due to conclude by 9 p.m. Comments from those attending in person will be heard first, followed by those on Zoom.
No hands up there.
Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion to close public participation?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember George,
Yes.
Councilmember Hale,
Yes.
Councilmember Hirsch,
Yes.
Council President Kim Cho Han,
Yes.
Councilmember Pistonik,
Yes.
Councilmember Vargas.
Yes.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Okay, next meeting is scheduled for March 10th at 7 p.m. Have a good night, be safe.